In this video, we'll define what a learning path is, show you how it works, and demonstrate how to create your own. Let's get started. You can think of a learning path as a sequence of steps that a student must complete in order to show understanding of a concept. That path may vary from student to student and can be set up differently by a teacher. So you may have a list of items that you want the students to complete, but based on how they do on certain assessments throughout that path, they may go a different route throughout the learning path. Let's look at how this works. I'm logged in as a student, and notice here on the planner, the student has been assigned to complete a learning path on weather instruments. Whenever you see this little pink icon with the play button, that is the icon for a learning path. So I could either click there, or I could click on the start button for the lesson plan. The student would see that they've been assigned to complete the path, and when they arrow to the next part, they're told to start the path. Now they'll see the first step in the path. They need to complete this discussion. Now in a learning path, you can have a variety of different items within there. You can use pages, notes, discussions, assessments, whatever you want, but different things have to happen in order for the student to move on to the next step in the path. So the student actually needs to complete this discussion, and then once they hit save, notice what happens. They're then going to get a message letting them know that the next step is available. So they have to complete this before they see the weather instrument step. Now notice they can either complete or click on the continue button here, or click here on the next step in the left-hand column. Now they're going to get a page, and they've been instructed to review those vocabulary terms, look at the instrument, look at the term, look at the definition, and then after a short amount of time has passed, It's Learning is going to let them know that they have the next step available. Once again, they can click continue and move on to the next step. The next step in this path is a task. And a task is students go, they complete something, and then they report back to you whether they're done or not. So they would go, click on this flashcards, complete the flashcards, and then say, yes, I've completed the task, and it's going to come up and say the next step is available. Continuing through the path, the next thing they need to do is an assessment. And on this assessment, the teacher can set it up so that the student has to get a certain score in order to complete the path, or if they don't achieve that score, they have to go back and do some review material. So I'm going to go ahead and start this test, and I'm actually going to go to the end of the test, and I'm just going to choose one thing here, complete the test. Okay. So I actually got a 20% on this, but that was lower than the required score. So notice it's given me a new step, and that new step is review material on those weather instruments. So I need to go watch this video, and then I need to submit an answer to this assignment. As soon as I type an answer and submit that, it's then going to release the next step within this path, and that is the teacher has given me another assessment for me to show if I've truly mastered the material. Now back here on the first assessment, if I would have got that maximum score, it actually would have taken me to the end of the path and congratulated me on the completion. So let's look at how you actually create these paths. The most difficult part about building a learning path is actually creating or gathering the materials for that path. So to start with, you would need to create a folder and then start creating all of the items that you want to use within the path, whether those are pages or assessments or notes, discussions, whatever. Build or collect all of those items within the folder. So notice here, we're going to do a learning path on factoring polynomials. And I have all of the items that we're going to use within that learning path inside that folder. Now, the next thing I'm going to recommend is once you've got that folder built, copy that folder. So I'm going to go over here to the three dots, and I'm going to say copy, and I'm going to copy that exact same folder into the exact same course in the exact same location that I had it. So I'm not going to change anything in terms of the course or the folder that it's in. Now, if I go to my Did You Know folder, I now see that I have two factoring polynomials folders. Now, one of those folders, the original, I'm going to make it inactive. I don't want the kids to see it, and I want it to be there so if I need to go back and do anything with those items that I just created, they're available to me. Now I'm going to go to this second folder that I copied, and this is the one that I'm going to make into my learning path. Now watch how easy this is. I'm going to click over here on the three dots in the upper right hand corner, and notice there's the option to make learning path. I'm going to select that option. itslearning is then going to give me my folder of items, same folder name with this little learning path icon, and I have the items in order, and that's something I didn't say earlier. Make sure you have the items in the order that you need them in that folder. If they're not, go back and start this process over. But notice it's now numbered them, step 1 through 12 for me. And then now I have to put the permissions, we'll call it, as to what's going to happen within this learning path. Now notice, if it is a page, it'll automatically say, if that page has been viewed, move to the next step. So step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, it's already put that little command in there for me. Step 5 is still a page. Step 6 is the first one that I have to make a decision on. Since that is an assessment, I need to decide, do I just want the kids to take it and then move on? Or notice if I click here on this drop down that they need to get a certain score. I'm going to say the student needs a certain score. I'm going to say that I want them to get an 85%. If they get an 85%, I'm going to let them move on to step number 7. If they haven't got an 85, I'm going to make them repeat the step. Now, in the previous learning path that I showed you, actually had them, if they didn't get the 85, they had to go do some review material. So in that specific situation, step 7 may have been review material. So if they didn't get an 85, they moved on to the review material. But if they got the 85, then they moved on to step 8 or 9, wherever else I needed them to go in the path. So you need to just think through, what is it that you want them to do if they don't achieve the score? Move on through the path to review material, repeat the test, or if they do get that score, where are they going? So this is kind of the most difficult piece right here, is what do you want them to do within that path? So they keep taking this test until they get an 85. Once they get the 85, they're going to move on to the next page. Once they view the page, they're going to get another assessment. And I could do the same thing. I want them to get a score of at least an 85. If they get that 85, then they're going to move on to step 9. Otherwise, if they don't get the 85, they're going to just keep repeating taking that test. 9, once again, view the page. 10, same thing. 11, in discussion, they have to just complete the discussion, so they've contributed, then they'll move on. Step 12, they're finished. So once you've gone through each of those steps, then you simply say complete the path. That is going to activate the path, but you need to go up here and click this little slider button to make it visible for the student. If you don't do that, the student still can't see the learning path within your course. If at any point in time you realize you made an error, you can click on Edit the Path. If any students have started through the path, it's going to give you a warning saying it's going to delete their submissions. That could be a major problem if you've had a lot of students that have actually gone through the path and done a lot of work. So that would be an issue where you may want to copy the path over, edit the new path, and then ask students who have not done any work to complete the second path and disable the first one. But once you make any edits, you will have to go down here and do complete the path again in order for it to be activated. Be sure to make it visible for students again. I hope that you find the learning path something valuable that you can use with your students. It is really a great way to kind of personalize their learning and to just meet their needs. Good luck!